And welcome to this Road to ATS special, ATS London. And today we've got James in the office. James, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
So we are talking about the identification panel at ATS London, and James is going to be sitting on that panel. But before we talk about that, James, what do you do now? Who are you?
So I am the co-founder and CRO of Rainbow. Rainbow is a permission-based marketing platform focused on bringing carrier-level identity and data to the advertising marketplace.
Okay.
We do that in a particularly unique way. We drive consent from the consumer by providing an enhanced consumer experience around advertising.
But your history is interesting, because obviously you are. Yes. This is the great pivot of our time. You were Shine and now you're Rainbow. So tell us how you made that journey and why identification is a core part of your business now.
So obviously I came from advertising, and specifically my last business was in identity and fraud mitigation. So it's something that I sit very close to. And what I saw in ad blocking specifically was that there was a reason why people were choosing to do it. And if we could develop a platform that could help mitigate those issues, then that would be great. Now, Shine came along with some very heavy-hitting investors, and it didn't have a business model because you can't make money out of ad blocking. So I saw that as a ripe opportunity to take something that could potentially do good and turn it into a product that could be used for good in advertising.
And you're solving an issue, because obviously our panel at ATS London is about identification, and we have a different people on there from different angles. But how important is identification now in the ecosystem, given the fact there are still problems with cross-device targeting, measurement, etc. So I want to talk about how important is that now to the industry.
I mean, if you look at where we are, we're at a crucial point in digital advertising where there's an influx of fraud, and it's only going to increase. It's extremely attractive to fraudsters because there's so many paths in and so many ways to do it, and it's such a big market, and there's so much money to be made. And really, identity sits at the heart of that, because if you understand that you're reaching a human and you have a means to attach data to them, then and obviously look at their behaviour as a result of being human, then you can obfuscate a lot of the stuff that happens around.
And tell us how the product works, just briefly. So,
sure.
how, in a nutshell, how does it work for a user and the advertising industry?
Sure. So we sit in line with the carrier's traffic, which means we sit inside their network. So it's extremely security robust. All of the data and identity is retained within that carrier's environment. But then the way that we work is relatively unique. We work directly with publishers and advertisers to bring that data and identity to the marketplace. So what we're not trying to do is arbitrage data, which is a model, I think, again, which advertisers aren't looking for. Them. Okay, so they say they're not looking for, maybe some are looking for.
Yeah.
And again, it's about not swallowing up publishers in the race to get to your cut of advertising. So we're trying to facilitate better advertising where context is just as important as data, because data in a vacuum is
nothing.
It's pointless.
Yeah,
exactly.
So on the panel itself, what areas do you want to talk about? What are you going to focus on? What are you going to bring to the party, effectively?
So my obviously, when I talk about this, I talk about the humanity of advertising. So there's a number of issues that relate to identity that are really important. It's where you're getting that identity from, what it's key to, and how you're using it. So obviously, consent and trust are two big factors in getting a core identity, and you have to respect the user, because otherwise the user goes and downloads an ad blocker, right? And that's what we don't want. So and also where you get that identity from, and what you're basing it upon. So cookies, obviously, we have a problem with. I'm not going to talk about cookies anymore. I spent out 5 years talking about cookies and really bored of it. It won't go away though, obviously. They won't go away. You need cookies on the internet. Just using it, third-party cookies for advertising the way that we use them today is failing the industry as a whole. And then secondly, what environments it's useful in. So Facebook have their own form of identity. It's great to have Spotify on the panel because they look at identity very differently, and also the proposition they have in terms of advertising, they look at very differently. We talk about going beyond parity in terms of identity. So our data is more robust than Facebook and Google's.
And you're going to be working with your core product works with all the telcos as well. So that'll be an interesting sort of dynamic to that panel as well, where you're actually using real first-party data from the telcos to sort of enhance the identification piece and also the analytics for publishers and advertisers.
Correct. So it's a SIM card. I mean, our identifier is a SIM card, which typically has a credit score related to it, or a credit card, some kind of spend data. So, you know, we see that as essentially the heart of identity. It's the closest you can get to the consumer before they even access the internet. And utilising that is going to strengthen our industry massively, especially mobile, where there's so much hope for data, right? You've got location, and you've got the context of that location. You've apparently got all these data points, but actually, you know, most of it's running blind, as you know, in RTB. I mean, getting data into... It's
almost impossible.
Correct.
So on that note then, James, we're looking forward to having you in the panel.
Thank you. Really looking forward to it.
And we'll see you in September 11th, and make sure you get your ticket now. They're selling fast, so thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you next time.